Breaking news, the Cubs and the front office making the first of what I think could be a very busy offseason of trades. Cubs looking to the Cleveland Guardians, who had one of the best bullpens in baseball, and they make a deal to get Eli Morgan. We're going to talk about this trade right here on the Cubs baseball channel, so buckle up. This could be the start of something fun here for this Cubs team that had such a bad bullpen at times last season. And the first of what could be a lot of moves coming. And then just in the last few days, we've seen a lot of moves for the Cubs. So let's get this thing started. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, go Cubs. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, welcome to the Cubs baseball channel. Some breaking news for you. And, man, it's like you just sit around and wait, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is, your first big move. And it's the Cubs making a trade to try to work on this bullpen a little bit, an area that we've all said would be something that they needed to improve on drastically from where they were last year. But a couple of notes. First off, before we get into the trade, which is Eli Morgan from Cleveland, a right-handed reliever who had excellent stats last year. The Cubs also are going to designate Patrick Wisdom for assignment. Yesterday, they added Owen Casey to the 40-man roster. They took off Brennan Davis. They had to do it. And you wish the best for Brennan Davis. Some bad luck, some injuries. But Owen Casey's a future star. And, that puts them in position to have him on the, obviously on the big league team when, when they want any time now. I mean, and I think that's somebody that's going to fight for a spot in the, on the opening day roster. And so anyway, so here's the move. Let's just get back to this. The information on the new pitcher for the Cubs, Eli Morgan. He's 5'10", 190 pounds. He was with Cleveland last year. What numbers? 3-0 record, a 1.93 ERA, and 32 games in relief. He was part of that bullpen that was one of the best in baseball, and last year was his best season. Maybe put it all together. 2023, he had a 4.01 ERA in 61 games and a 5-2 record. One of the go-to guys that they have in 23 had 75 strikeouts to 24 walks. Last year, 34 strikeouts to 11 walks. 2021, his first season, he was 5-7, had a 4.71 ERA, and that was as a starting pitcher. So eventually went into the bullpen, and since then, I'd say, let's see, the last 3 years he's been in the bullpen. So 21 he was a starter, and then 22, 23, and 24 he was out of the bullpen. Career record of 18-12 and a career 3.97 ERA. But last year was kind of the year where you really saw a lot of growth for him. And it also tells us that the Cubs are serious about doing something here. And I mean, you figured that they were going to have to make moves with trades. And for them to be able to not spend money, but to get better, it was going to have to be with trades. So pretty exciting, just to see them go out and try to work around this and get better. He's got a 3.23 career earned run average as a relief pitcher. So that's exciting as well. The guys over at The Athletic are saying that the Cubs are sending an A-ball player in return. So I'm not sure who that player is, if it's someone that I'll have some insight on. Hopefully that'll be something that, we'll be able to talk about before I get off the air here. But look, this is obviously a guy who you feel like is going to be able to help He's, someone that is known for having low contact, so, he gets a lot of swings and misses and guys that aren't barreling him up a whole lot, like, what did they say? Like a 2.5 barrel rate this year. So, you know what? I know this is all the analytics stuff. Look, if you can go out there, change speeds, throw strikes, get outs, and come in to big situations and get the job done, that's what matters to me. He comes with 3 years of team control, and he's projected to make about $1 million in arbitration this year. So that's good for the Cubs. Plus, he also has a minor league option. Not to say that we want to see him go back to the minor leagues, but the guy works off of what people call an elite changeup. I think that's one of the best pitches in baseball. I've said that for a long time. I think anytime I've seen guys with great changeups have just incredible careers. And, when kids ask you like, hey, I've been around the game for a long time, what pitch do you think is the most effective pitch? I say the changeup. Obviously throwing a fastball is, your bread and butter. But if you can throw a fastball with a really good changeup, you can do a lot of things off of that. So we haven't heard yet who the return player is. They said it's an A-ball player. So that surprises me a little bit, just because the Cubs have so many players stacked up in AAA. Moving Patrick Wisdom off of the 40-man does give maybe one of those guys an opportunity to get to the major leagues and find some playing time. But I'm surprised a little bit that it's somebody in the low minor leagues, but we'll find out. It could be that Cleveland's getting a pitcher in return, and the Cubs really don't have a lot of pitchers that I think are in the upper levels of the minor leagues that that a team would probably feel like they really want. A lot of their prospects are the lower level guys. Not to say they don't have guys that can pitch, but it's one of those things. Now, Patrick Wisdom, 84 home runs in a Cubs uniform over the last 4 seasons, 33 years old. He is a guy that I think we all liked as a person, very inconsistent as a player. Hit 171 in his 174 plate appearances last year. A lot of strikeouts. Defensively, it was hard to watch. Surprised that the Cubs didn't make this move last year and get some of these young guys some experience. We talked about that on the show yesterday. But it really feels like it's go time for this front office, playing on a 1-year deal or working on a 1-year deal, knowing that if they don't have big results this year, that there could be a turnover. And, maybe this is the beginning of that. So the bullpen has been an issue for the Cubs. Remember last year they made the trade to get Nate Pearson. We saw some Luke Little, who they developed in the minor leagues, Keegan Thompson. They traded for Tyson Miller, who actually did a great job coming from Seattle. He was a Cubs minor leaguer and then eventually made his way back. Porter Hodge was excellent in limited action for them. Jorge Lopez, who is a free agent. I'm wondering if they're going to bring him back or not. He was really good for the Cubs. He was the guy that got mad at the Mets and threw his glove, and they kicked him off the team. And then he ended up coming to the Cubs and did great. Last year's, I guess, big relief acquisition was Hector Neris. And he was not good. We called him Heart Attack Hector because, he was so bad. So Cleveland had that amazing bullpen. They had, what was it, Cade Smith over there, Hunter Gaddis, Tim Herron, Emmanuel Clase, who was like their closer. I saw the guy like get 4 saves in 4 days, So, maybe part of this is that Cleveland had, basically had to try to figure out what they were going to do with their bullpen. But this is a good move for the Cubs. Look, this is a guy that's going to be able to come in, has experience, and it shows that they're making some moves. I think Owen Casey's going to be a player. I said this before. He has all the tools to be a star player. And Richard said I called him Nightmare Neris. Yeah, whatever you called the guy, it was really scary to watch. Every time he came into the game, you're like, oh boy, here we go. So Yeah, I guess they're saying that. Well, let me put this comment up here. The 40-man spot's going to be the one that was occupied by Wisdom, but I mean, all of this will kind of bounce back and forth as we get more information. So I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure who the player is yet that the Cubs are giving up to get him, but they're saying it's an A ball pitcher. And once we find out, or an A ball player. So I'm still trying to find that, just because if it's someone that I know about, I'll be able to give you guys a little background. But look, I think this is a good move. I think that this shows that the Cubs are willing to go out and address some issues. We keep hearing trade rumors about starting pitching, but we know that the bullpen's been one of the areas where the Cubs have been the weakest, and that's an area where they've got to get better with the pitching that is in the back end, holding on the leads, guys that can come in that you can count on. So, again, I'll run through this for those of you guys that are just getting here now. But Eli Morgan, I don't know that Eli Morgan is what you would call a household name, but at the same time, I mean, he's a guy that when you look at what he did last year, he had an excellent season. So he's 28 years old. He was part of Cleveland's bullpen that was the best bullpen in baseball last year. He had a 1.93 ERA, a 0.98 whip over 42 innings. That's 32 appearances. Had some right shoulder and right elbow inflammation at times last year, so that's never good. But again, 18-12 and a 397 earned run average in 161 games, including 19 starts for the Cleveland Guardians. And then the Cubs have designated Patrick Wisdom for assignment. Again, that is the news of today. Yesterday, the Cubs added Owen Casey to the 40-man roster, and Brendan Davis was taken off of the roster. So we'll see what happens. But look, all you guys, thank you for coming and hanging out. Just wanted to break that to you. We'll be covering that here, but it's really exciting news for Cubs fans that, just the fact that they're going out there and trying to find ways to make this team better. The bullpen was not good enough last year. And by adding pieces like this, like Eli Morgan, it kind of gives us a little bit of, hey, you know what? Maybe this is the start of something good that's going to happen for this team. It's not a huge move, but it is a big move. And I think it's going to help the Cubs get better. So anyway, when we do the show for tomorrow morning, we'll talk about whoever they do send over, because that has not been announced yet. And this trade hasn't really even been, it's being reported, so the teams haven't said, hey, yeah, we're doing this. It's happening, right? When Jeff Passan tells you that it's happening, you can go ahead and bank on it. But as we figure this whole thing out, we'll have some insight on that as well. But thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Like and subscribe, thumbs up. Thanks for being on the Cubs baseball channel. And we'll keep watching for more of this stuff. And when it happens, we'll jump on with you. Go Cubs.